Hey everyone, Molgo Kirby here, doing a quick guide on the new Delve boss. This is going to be a sort of live commentary over a run I did, with some edited sections just to explain some of the strats I do, in particular for the double boulders on floor 8, which I know gives people a lot of trouble. But yeah, just starting by showing you off how to get here. I use the Pendant of Eights teleport with that little statue, take the elevator, and there's a little chest where it takes you down. You can get these two teleporters, put them on the ground at the start and here, and if you place it right where you spawn, it just instant teleports you really close to the end of the hallway, and that way you can get to the boss a lot faster, which is super nice. Note that for the inventory, the T-bow is about 15% more DPS than the Scorching Bow, so you're fine to just use the Scorching Bow. And you only really need a Scorching Bow. Like, you could use a Arc Light for your Demon Bane weapon, and you could use any staff at all cast Demon Bane for your magic Demon Bane weapon. And the Scythe is just for an extra punish mechanic for speed. You could use the dual mokhaiotl hammers or an Elder Maul whack, or you could just use nothing and just stick to using your Demon Bane melee weapon for just a small punish. That's to save inventory space if you want. And the nature is for casting Ward of Arceus, which reduces demon damage by 10%. Up to you if you want to do that or not. It's pretty minor. But yeah, so we start here. Basically, the boss will spawn these grubs, they heal them and hurt you, and they do more damage the more it goes in over time, stacking between waves, so don't let them go in, and attack whatever they're not praying against. They do a little explosion, so run away after you kill them. Or like if you kill them while they're near the boss, like close enough for the explosion to hurt the boss, the explosion won't actually hurt you, which is nice. You pray against the projectiles as needed, blue is mage, green is range, etc. The little boulders he throws in the air spawn a bunch of like shadows, and you move out of the way to avoid the debris. And yeah, it's wave 1, so you don't really see too much of mechanics here. Okay, here we are now on level 2. The attacks will be a little bit faster. The boulders will now spawn 2 projectiles when they explode. And also note, when it comes to the boulders, the color of a boulder determines the first projectile color. So it's a blue boulder here, so it's going to be blue as the first one. So it'll be blue into green. And then on the later waves, when it does free projectiles, it'll be like blue, green, blue. Because it always alternates the color with what projectiles would come out of that big boulder. So yeah, now here's the punch mechanic. I use the Scythe. Does 3 hits with a bonus 57 damage because of my high strength bonus. If you want, you could just do a one-way Scythe, or like one-way dual mokhaiotl hammers, or just use your Ember Light for just a very small damage bonus only to save inventory space if you want to keep it simple. But it is very nice to speed up these waves with the punish, to be honest. And yeah, that's floor 2, not much too different. Do note, however, that a lot of these boulders, I oftentimes do a special little dodge, you'll notice. Basically practicing for floor 8, where I do this little double movement after each boulder, so do look for that. Okay, here we go. Floor 3. Now this is the first phase where we see these sort of like charge phase, or medic phase, whatever you want to call it. So the boss charges up, but doesn't have any overheads. So for this one, you want, and it has like the blue bar as well, you want to use a Demon Bane weapon, any Demon Bane attack, to reset the charge meter. And also kill the grubs when we're close to the boss, because when they explode, they'll deal 100 damage to the boss. And once again, they won't hurt you if they're close enough to hurt the boss. And yeah, that's all you gotta do. So yeah, here's my punch mechanic, just getting that going. Looking the prayers. Yeah, do try to remember what color the boulder was, because sometimes it's hard to see which projectile is going to hit you first. So remembering what color the boulder was to know what the first projectile is very helpful. Because yeah, it can be very awkward sometimes. And we're punished here. And yeah, I'm not really doing like the practice thing much here, because it's a little bit more awkward to practice the wave 8 strat on those boulders when I have to like do a punish at the same time, because it throws off my timing. But you'll see in the later waves me practicing the double boulder dodge, pretending it's double boulders. But yeah, that's floor 3 covered. Now for floor 4. This is gonna be a little bit faster on some of the attacks, but nothing is really too crazy yet. More acid. It's shooting on this side, so I want to move to a different side. I do a punch mechanic. Over time these projectiles get faster and faster as we get deeper into the waves. Yeah, this is just a medic phase again, so just, and like, you know, you can't like attack it during this, so you can just go to melee distance, it's nice. And just keep, don't let them charge to full, otherwise it's a one shot. And do your best to kill these grubs as we get close. If you get a little bit overwhelmed with grubs, could kind of kill some of them early. It's a pain because the grubs that are weak to magic, you can't hit them instantly. If you're on cooldown, you can't instantly cast a spell. But you can instantly kill the range of melee grubs, even if you just attack the boss. It's weird. So it's a bit tougher to kill the mage grubs. But yeah, just be aware of that. And just a note, you can, if you don't use a demon bane weapon, you can kill the grubs in 2 hits. One tick apart, but then you'll be on cooldown for your next hit on the boss. Whereas like if you use a demon bane weapon to kill the grubs, it's instant. And there's no cooldown. At least for melee and range. But if you use a non-demon weapon, it will be instant, but you will have a cooldown afterwards for your next attack on the boss. So keep that in mind if you are not using a demon bane weapon ever to kill grubs for some reason. But yeah, that is floor 4 clear. Not too much worse than floor 3 yet. Okay, but now for floor 5. So this is the first floor that introduces the Roomba mechanic, or Ferrari phase. People have many names for it. Where a boss will actually chase you around the room. During this phase, it basically looks at where you are, and it has certain like areas it tends to kind of prefer, like the corner and middle of a room kind of, but there's some other areas it'll go to as well, kind of like it's a bit weird. But yeah, so you basically kind of want to bait the boss to go a certain direction and move out of the way. You'll see it always happens after the medic phase here. So once this medic phase ends, it's going to go into the car mode. And we're going to kind of run away a little bit. And note that once again, this phase does have a yellow charge bar. So you do need to keep hitting the boss during this phase. Otherwise, if the yellow bar gets full, it will one-shot you. And as you can see here, sometimes it kind of gets confused and doesn't dash for a little bit. If this only really happens on floor 5, it will not happen on later floors. But yeah, and it does 2 dashes in total on this floor. But yeah, and here we actually get the tree mechanic. So you have about 20 ticks or 12 seconds from when the trees first spawn until you need to be in the little orb that spawns to protect you from the slams. Because here it starts to do a slam attack. But yeah, I killed it there. But yeah, you just want to, you know, since it's 12 seconds before you start taking damage, maybe around 6 seconds in, try to hit the trees. Don't want to do it too early or too late, basically. Also note, here's a nice little strat you can do to make your life easier on wave 5. When the boss does the Roomba phase, you can stand up against the wall, either melee distance or 1 tile away like this, and he'll just stay there till the phase ends. That's a way to AFK in here. Note that he also does a slam attack in his later waves during this Roomba phase, which makes this little method a bit more dangerous, but we'll get to that when we get there. Okay, here we go. Now we are entering floor 6. Now this is where things get tough. Once again, the acid will no longer clear from this point onwards, so I recommend actually not using Thralls, as the Thrall spawns a lot of acid relative to how much damage it does. You can see how fast it's filling up already. And yeah, so for this room, it's gonna be pretty fast how fast you have to flick some of the attacks here from these boulders, so watch out. You can see it comes a bit quicker now. The next wave is when it gets really fast. And yeah, the big thing about this is that the Roomba attack is now much more dangerous. That's the biggest change you're gonna see in floor 6, as after each dash, it's going to do a couple of projectiles, like 2 to 3, sometimes 1, and then it's going to do a slam attack, which will cover the whole arena. It looks like it won't, but it will. So for this one, you're going to want to hide behind the rocks. So you also want to try a path in a way that makes him not break too many rocks. Though there I'm also trying to, like, kill all the grubs, because it's going to be hard to kill. But yeah, there it is with slam. Yeah, I do a little mechanic here where I run to that spot that stalls the boss and makes him not move very far, and then run back behind a boulder. And this helps me sort of control his positioning a bit more in certain situations. But it's very situational, doesn't come too often. Here's again, to clarify the timing, it's sort of like after a shadow disappears, I count 1, 2, 3, and then on 3 I start clicking 1, 2, 3, and I click to go, run back. So that's sort of like the way I count, essentially. But yeah, that strat's very situational. It doesn't always present itself because you need to have boulders close enough to actually use. Otherwise, you'll just be tanking with stomp afterwards. But yeah, and here's the tree spawns. I think I killed them too fast here potentially, but you can see I use the orb for a little bit here. And yeah. Okay, so now floor 7. So this is where things get really tough. So now the boulder he throws out when it explodes, when the projectiles appear, you basically need to pray against them instantly, as you can see here. As soon as they appear, I basically need to, I have 1 tick to react to them. So yeah, it's very fast. But keep in mind, the color of a boulder is what the first projectile will be, but you have to flick. So if it's a blue boulder, it's mage, range, mage. If it's a green boulder, it'll be range, mage, range. So knowing this, you don't even need to like see and react to them, which makes it much easier. And yeah, so now for this phase, I think I don't get as lucky here, so I can't just do like the stall maneuver. Actually, no, maybe I can. Let me see if I do. I might do 1 stall maneuver here, maybe. Yeah, see, I leave tick perfectly, get there just in time, and then leave, and get him stuck. I don't think I get to do it a second time. Yeah, I'm too far away now to do it again. So now I just need to do my best to sort of like make him path towards me. And try, basically, you kind of like want to in advance look where the rocks are and pick a direction that won't break too many rocks. Otherwise, you can run out of rocks and you're forced to tank, which is very difficult. Okay, here we go. Now, floor 8, this is a tough one. So, the big thing about floor 8 is those double boulders he shoots now. Because instead of shooting 1, he'll shoot 2, which is very tough. So, for dealing with that, I have a little pattern I do. You'll see later when we get the boulder spawn. But basically, and I practice this pattern on the early waves. When the first boulder breaks and the debris is coming towards me, I dodge at the last possible tick and then move 1 more time, and then I start prey flicking. So it's like move, move, prey flick. And then there'll be like a 1 tick gap between the 2 sets of boulders that you have to prey flick the sets of 3. So it'll be like, you know, if it's a range boulder, I'd be like, so I go move, move, range, mage, range, wait, range, mage, range. Though you're just leaving the range per on for that second set because it's already on. But yeah, you can see here, yeah, I get lucky here. Really good situation where I could have like been able to do that. Now I just gotta book it. This is a bit awkward because I want to get far enough to get to that rock. I just barely avoid the boss aiming there. I was kind of lucky. Also, yeah, during this phase as well, you have to keep hitting the boss because he's got the charging meter. So as usual, if he charges to full, he one-shots you. So gotta keep attacking. But yeah, now so for when you're first starting out, most people probably just kind of try their best to DPS the boss and skip this whole phase if they can. But here my DPS wasn't quite looking good enough, so I used the tree mechanic. And so the thing about the tree mechanic, you get about 20 ticks from when the first trees appear to when the first you have to like be in the shield to start protecting against the slam. So that's about 12 seconds. And so people ask me often, like, you know, what is the timing for trees? So I'd say, you know, around 6 or so seconds after a tree spawn, you know, try to tag the trees maybe. You can do it maybe a bit later if you don't have a good positioning, like a good, like, too far away trees to use, and try to time it closer. But I think around 6 seconds is a decent amount of time. Though if you have like an awkward situation where you have to dodge double boulders, it can be hard to attack the trees during them. So in a case like that, I might attack the trees earlier or later, out of necessity. Because, you know, worst case scenario, if an orb runs out, but you manage to block most of the earthquakes, because in floor 8 onwards, it does 5 slams, whereas wave 7 was only 4 slams, and wave 6 was 3. So for wave 8, you really need a lot of orb time. But tanking 1 or 2 slams, you can survive at least, and that's all that matters. But yeah. Yeah, you can see here an example of me dodging one of these double boulders. I dodge it for the last second, move, prey range, mage range, wait, range, mage range. And like, as long as you remember what color the boulders were, I basically just don't even need to look at what's happening. I just know I do my tick perfect dodge, I do move, and start flicking. And I don't even need to see what's happening, which is good because it's hard to see what's going on sometimes. And you can also kind of use with sound effects. So basically, when the first boulder has the debris hit the ground, it kind of makes like a clunk noise. And then the tick after the second boulder explodes in the air and starts this like exploding noise. So you can kind of use this as a point of reference for when to start flicking in the situation of like, let's say you're already moving to deal with other mechanics, so you can't really easily do the move, flick, flick thing. So it's kind of confusing to know when did you start moving if you were already moving. So that's where, you know, the audio cues can kind of help you keep a frame of reference. But yeah, sometime around a bit after that first boulder having the debris hit the ground noise, you can sort of start flicking. Just watch it back and sort of get a feel for that. But yeah, big thing is just practice that move, flick, flick, flick timing on the early waves, so that when you get to these late waves, it will just be muscle memory. Obviously, when you do a move, flick, you'll be sitting around waiting 3 seconds for the projectiles to actually hit you when you're like on wave 1, but that's fine. Just need that muscle memory built in. But yeah, that's my sort of like early day 2 live commentary guide for this boss. Hopefully this will help you start getting some decent 4-8 clears, or however far you want to go. Good luck everyone on this boss, and I'll probably make a more in-depth detailed guide at some point when we have more of a meta figured out. But anyways, thanks for watching. Peace, everybody.